Buffett has a pretty tumultuous relationship with the airline industry and his investments, but he thinks that even post-COVID, it's just not going to look the same.
Yeah, that's exactly right. He's saying that he just doesn't have the visibility of what it's going to look like. And as you say, that is a pretty big message coming from him after a really interesting history as an airline investor. He had shunned airline investments for many years, very prominently, and then in 2016 took stakes in the four biggest U.S. carriers precisely because he believed the argument that industry consolidation had set the companies up for, a steady stream of profits for years and years. By getting out now, it seems that he is saying that hypothesis no longer holds.
And yeah, Brendan, Berkshire Hathaway still owns a supplier of aerospace parts, Precision Cast Parts.
It does. It owns Precision Cast Parts. That was one of the biggest deals that Buffett has ever done. The company's a major supplier to Boeing. Its parts are in engines on planes flying or will be flying around the world. And like Boeing and Airbus and all the other aerospace suppliers, Precision Cast Parts is looking at a pretty tough business outlook. Not only is maintenance down because airplanes aren't flying, and that lowers demand for replacement parts, but the outlook for jetliner sales is all of a sudden very weak because the airlines don't expect demand to recover to 2019 levels for another 2 or 3 years.
Brendan, we're starting to hear a lot of airlines talk about restarting by July. We spoke to the Ryanair head a little bit earlier. Is that overly optimistic? Because what's the likelihood that, an individual airline might be able to restart, but is there going to be demand, and will these global border restrictions and airspace restrictions be lifted?
Yeah, it's really an open question right now. Internationally, it's hard to say what restrictions will or won't be lifted. Even inside the U.S., different states are taking different approaches. The airlines were at pains this last week to highlight policy changes they're making to require passengers to wear face coverings. I took that as a sign that they were trying to figure out ways that might help passengers feel more comfortable to get back on planes. But whether customers will in fact materialize, that remains to be seen.